What is going on, peoples? What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing? All right. Yeah. Oh, good. Who do we got in here today? Good. What up? It's good to see everybody, man. We got a lot to talk about today. Oh, good. My friends, my people, it's been real and it's been fun and it's been fast. Now let's get into what we got to do, all right? Which is the do. All right, let me make sure. Sweet. Well, that's what we got to do, baby. That's what we got to do. All right. Cool. In here. There we go. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm just waiting on old Levi. Oh, there he is. What's up, stud?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Sorry about that, man. I was in a little technical difficulty, but I'm back in the game.
So, do I need to have both the streams open or close that first one?
Wait, say what?
Do I need to have both of these streams open?
No. You can just have this open.
All right, I just closed the other one, so I'm still here.
All right.
What's up?
Not the man. How you doing?
I'm trying to find a pullback on the NASDAQ right now to get long, but there ain't no pullbacks tonight.
Dude, this is actually an epic reversal. You were taking some heat on this. I was like, man, what's he doing? And then you got it. Yeah. The ad in was perfectly timed, too.
Yeah, that ad came in off of a monthly level. I don't like to be short below equal lows, and I waited till we swept that low from 2 weeks ago. And then that was where I took the ad today. And obviously AMD earnings help out big time. I'm not going to deny that, But
nice, dude. I mean, it was, if you really think about it, like, when you're thinking about like kind of how these things always go, it's been pulling back for months anyways, right? So it's probably time, especially with the market, the expectations were probably terrible. So, you're in the right. It was the right time for it to do it.
Well, yeah, I think we're in such a volatile market, Canal. Like, you can take shots like that, and you know what? If it happened to go wrong and we gapped down tomorrow morning, you know what? Long the open would be my play tomorrow if we gapped even lower. We're with this volatility, you can afford to be wrong and make it up. Absolutely. And that's how I kind of approach it.
Now, let's take a look. So why don't you, before we even get started, guys, welcome everybody. I hope everybody's doing fantastic. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. First, I'd like Levi, can you share your screen? Why don't you kind of why don't you give me a rundown of what you're seeing in the market right now? I know you're long. The market looked nasty today, and you flipped it long, which nobody really saw, right? That's what makes you you. If you share your screen, walk us through that, because I think this is important. A lot of people have been so bearish, myself included sometimes. And dude, you got something going right now.
Yeah, so everybody's heard. You can see my screen, right?
Right now I got the restream up, so if you can flip it to the charts, you'd be good.
Give me 1 second. You know me with this kind of stuff.
I know.
Screen sharing. We'll do a window.
So there's like a button on the bottom, and then you share it, and it should do it.
How's that?
All right, let's dig in here. Bump, 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 bump. There we go. We got you.
All right. So, I've been playing the downside quite a bit too. But, there was some really good opportunities long today, and it was basically just going to the higher time frames. I think as day traders, we get so dialed in on like the small time frames, the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 10 minute, and we're all guilty of not really like scrolling out and looking at, the broader pictures of market structure break, or even going to the daily to look at, are we going to retest, previous all-time highs from February or, April, May, and, just kind of looking back at previous, history of price action with some moving averages. I mean, my call tonight after hours, that we're looking at the NASDAQ now just because it updates on the daily versus the QQQ. But, when you breach that 100-day moving average on the daily, that's been an opportunity to buy. It's only happened one time in the last 6 months. You go back and look at the yearly period. It's only happened twice, 3 times in a year, and every time we've breached it, the dip's been bought. So put that into account, and then you see I've had this level here forever. Retesting these these highs. What was once resistance now becomes support. Before the earnings reports came out, the NASDAQ was down like 500 points. And, we lost 200 points after Microsoft earnings. At one point, we were down 700 points on the NASDAQ. I'm a buyer, man, and that's exactly what we did in the after hours. If you're an options trader, you have 15 minutes to execute options on the indexes. And so, it's really clear in the room, like, hey, if we take a trade, I want to see them dump the market. And they did. I was early, but then we took that ad, and if everything plays out, it's going to be a really nice.
That was hot because it dumped basically in like 2 candles. I think the QQQs dumped like 7-8 points, and then boom, the rebound was on. I was like sitting there like, fuck. Oh, man.
What's this freaking guy doing, man?
I was like, fuck. I didn't even know options could be traded in the first 15 minutes after hours till you posted it.
Yeah, so any optionable ETF index, for us, it's the SPY and the Qs, basically.
Sure.
You can trade them up to 15 minutes after the market closes. So real quick, I was talking about sweeping that prior low.
Yeah.
Right? And this was the low. It's a liquidity sweep to me, so it's an equal low. It attracts price, and you see this really long wick.
Yeah.
To me, that's liquidity coming back into the market. That's buyers. They swept the low, they regained, and I think tomorrow, obviously with FOMC's, something to keep in mind. But I think tomorrow is going to be an epic bounce day, dude.
It feels like it is. Like today did feel a little bit frothy, and I was a little bit nervous. But if you really look at like some of these names, I mean, they've retraced, like, I mean, the semiconductors have been leading the way down. Some of these stocks like MU tested the 200-day moving average. Dell tested the 200-day moving average. NVIDIA tested 100 after hours. So you've had significant pullbacks that, we have room now, right? Like they were obviously very, very overbought and, an epic extension, but you've retraced now 40, 50% on most of them. On MU, I believe you retraced about 50% on the dot, and same thing on Dell. So you have some big, big retracements that have been happening, on these things. So, it's probably getting closer to that bounce than fade, right?
Right. And I think too, like there's a lot of uncertainty coming into the election, right? I mean, these are uncertain times, and I think the market
it is. I mean, I saw like a quick clip of you. There was a White Dudes for Harris, and I thought I saw you there, and I was like, whoa, there we go, White Dudes for Harris. Here we Levi showing it up.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm just kidding. The fact that they had that, I was cracking up all day. I flipping through it, just like, why? How can this be a thing?
Yeah, this thing's freaking ugly, man. Look at that earnings gap it filled back. I think this thing's broken. I like the video.
They're broken, but for tomorrow, they may unbreak for a day or two. I think, NVIDIA's at a spot. MU's probably maybe at a spot. I mean, a lot of them are just, at a spot. So we got something. We'll see. We'll see what is going on. And then, like you said, the 100-day moving average was there, and we've got a big upside down wick now happening on the QQQs. This is the way to go. So we'll see what happens.
And what's going to be really nice too is tomorrow we get the monthly closing candle, right? And so, every month, the beginning of new month, I like to look at my monthly charts, and that's how I do like a lot of my fib work too, is looking at the new monthly candles and looking at the range, and I'll literally just draw a fib off of last month's high and low, and I'll lock it in for the rest of the month, and you can really trade off of those levels too.
Damn, that I did not know. Or I never thought about it. So give me a rundown. So recent, you've been rocking and rolling. You're always doing your options with the fibs. But recently, the last few days, you've been nailing some of these reversals on the futures big time. I think, what was it, Friday that you caught the big Mama Jamma? Was it Friday or Thursday? There was a big reversal. Friday was chop day. Thursday was the reversal.
Yeah.
And you've been catching these things. Give me a rundown. How do you determine when to use futures versus options? Because, I think if you're an options trader, you're always just banging the options thing. But there's probably some level of nuance there where, especially for you who've been trading for over a decade, how do you determine which one to use? And sometimes I notice you do both, but not always. Like usually you're picking one or the other.
Right. So that's a good question. And, if I'm, I might not be posting all my trades in the Discord. And the thing is especially with trading futures, it happens so fast. And if I'm trading aggressively and tactically, it's with futures. I won't trade options that aggressive. I just won't. I don't think the risk is there for me to trade options like I trade futures in a super volatile environment where I'm trying to find a reversal or a counter trend scalp.
Sure. Why is that?
Because of the premium DK. If I'm wrong, your premium on your options can hurt you really bad, especially if you trade out of the money calls. So, if I'm trying to bounce, let's say NVIDIA, or let's not even use NVIDIA, let's just use the NASDAQ here.
Sure.
Let's say I'm trying to bounce the NASDAQ at this double bottom at 18,800, let's say.
Yeah.
And QQQ, let's say, is equivalent at that same level at 450, 450. Well, we saw what happened tonight in the after hours. At one point, I was down like 35, 40% in a matter of like 2 minutes.
Sure.
Right?
Done that.
And then I took my ad based off of our higher level. But with trading futures, I don't lose that premium. There's no premium. It's just a contract that I pay for. It loses no face value. Unlike an options contract, will lose face value if the underlying price goes against you.
Sure.
Trading options to me is a lot more effective in a trending type volatile market like we've been in. I mean, we take options trades every day, but if I'm really scalping and being aggressive, I trade futures every time.
Levi, describe to me, if you don't mind, I got a couple things I want to go over, but describe to me these science lines, all right? And the reason I call them science lines is so I never use this stuff because I've been a momentum trader, a little bit of intuition trader, but I trade patterns. And then Levi put me onto some of this stuff. So I use TC2000 all my life, and I have all these TC. I got 343-inch freaking Dell monitor, all this TC1000, and now I got to get another monitor for all Levi's science lines, and they work so damn good. I'll just give you a primetime example. In the morning, I had longed Tesla off the pullback into the one-day Fibonacci.
Yes, so did I. Yeah.
And then it started ramping, and it hit some resistance, and I actually forgot. I forgot for a second that, I had to switch because it had such a big ramp to switch to the intraday. And so when it faded, it actually faded right off the intraday. So I caught it just in right the time. I was like, why is it stalling like this? And I switched to the intraday, and it rammed right into it. And I was like, fuck, science lines, right? And so now I always remember, if I'm in a position, keep both of them up, on some box. But describe to me, like, you have all sorts of stuff going on here, but they're auto drawn, and they're, actually it looks a lot crazier than it really is. They're very practical and actually just make a lot of sense. So like, when you were looking at the indices before and stuff like that, like, what do you got on these things?
So it's really, it's not rocket science at all. It's not complicated. These are auto fib zones that I created probably 4 or 5 years ago. And it's your most basic fib strategy from swing low to swing high on whatever time frame you're on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and what it does is, obviously we have rules to trade this. Not every pullback into a fib zone is something we buy, but like we traded Tesla today, and I freaking, like a bonehead, I sold the calls for like 20% and stopped out, and it ended up going quite a bit higher. But like, you've got your main 50% fib, your 61.8 fib, and then this is the newest addition that I brought out onto the indicator last year. It's called the last stand zone. And this is a sequence of Fibonacci right here. And I mean, I think you saw yesterday how well it worked out with the NASDAQ. We freaking slammed that last stand zone, and it ended up being a 100-point trade for us.
Yeah.
But like, we look for pullbacks into areas, these fib zones, which are premium spots to get long, right?
Sure.
So like Tesla, I always say, look left. This was a bullish day, higher lows throughout the day, gapped up. They sold it, they bought it back up, and then they sold it at the open, and we got long here. This was our first trade of the day today. Just helps narrow down the point of interest areas to get long. And it's really such a simple strategy that I think it is so overlooked, because I don't have 1,000 indicators on my chart. I literally trade with 2 moving averages and my fib zones. That's it.
Nice. And when you look at the indexes, you got a couple other things I noticed, like it's like previous days, lows, highs. You got a couple other things going on. What do you do with those bad boys?
So it's really the same thing as my other indicator. Here's another indicator I've got. It's called the zone indicator. And same thing, everything's automatic. I don't do anything. I don't adjust any of these levels. These levels adjust based off new highs or new lows made on the time frame. So pivot point, that's a huge indicator. Your main pivot point and your previous day close and your previous day close. I mean, look right here on Tesla. It's not a coincidence that Tesla bounced precisely today at the previous day close. You've never heard anybody talk to you about the previous day close. And I've been trading this level for 5-6 years now.
True. I always use the previous day's close, but
yeah,
it's rare to look back previous.
Well, and most platforms don't offer that, and then, I can go even more into this and I can show the previous high, the previous day high, the 2-day high. Same thing with the lows. I can show different resistance points. I can do a lot with this indicator, and it's all technical related. Like, there's no fancy sauce on this stuff, man. It's price action driven, period.
Nice. So, Levi, give me a rundown. One of the things that, the advantage of trading, futures and even options is obviously you don't need like $100,000 to trade this stuff. If you're brand new, like it's your son trading, right? And you got $5,000 and, I'm not trying to turn it into a million, but just get screen time. Like, where do you start? Like, what do? You trade it one contract, you do one something, one MNQ, like where would you start? Like, you're brand new, to the game. Like, where do you start? Options, futures, equities, 100 shares, one contract, like gun to your head. Like, where do you advise somebody that you love, somebody that
So if you would have asked me this a year ago, I would have 100% said, hey, you need to start with options trading if you've got a small account, right? Meaning a small account is $5,000 and less, right? Because, a year ago, I pretty much only traded options. I mean, I live and die options trading. Up until recently, I've been very involved with trading futures. I think that most traders fail, Kunal, is because they're too undercapitalized for the markets, and they're cutting themselves out of opportunity before they can see what they can become, because they can't learn from their mistakes with such a small account trading options. Now, every day you see some guy with a huge following talk about how he's going to take $100 to $100,000. And I'm going to tell you right now, 99% of that is bullshit. Can it be done? I'm sure it can be done. But to me, it's reckless. It's not even... It's just a clickbait, in my opinion. Trading futures with these funded firms that you can pay $65 for, $100 a month for, and have access to $50,000, $75,000, and actually learn how to trade any strategy, whether it's fibs, your 3 favorite strategies. I know you love trading the rubber band, the red to green, moving averages. You can trade all those strategies with futures, but it's just a different asset. You're not trading options, you're trading futures contracts. And here's why I like it, because you can afford to lose. You can learn from your mistakes. If you blow up an account, let's say you hit your max loss or your drawdown on that account, okay, they close your account, you pay like $40, you reset it, and you're back in the game. If you're trading options on a $5,000 account and you lose $3,000 of that, you're feeling some pain, and then you start trading off emotion, and then the losses stack up, man, period.
That makes sense. Now, if you're going through this, all right, so you pick the instrument, and okay, say I'm trading fibs. What do you focus on all of them? So I notice on futures you get real aggressive, but do you focus on all of them or just some of them? Like in options, you just have a couple of the fibs, the deeper ones I've noticed that you really like. Where do you go?
You stay with the indexes because I have statistically proven that I have higher success rates trading Fibonacci on SPY, QQQ, and IWM than I do anything else.
Sure.
For like 8 months, I tracked my trades this year, and 85% of my profits came from SPY and QQQ. There's people out there that will tell you that you can't make a living, you can't do well trading just the indexes, and I'll prove you wrong every time.
Makes sense. So you got
institutions and banks know when there's 50% corrections and price ranges. And that's what's so great about these fibs is they tell you when there's a 50% retracement and a strong trend. So that's when money can get back in at a premium discount, and that trend can have that opportunity to continue higher or lower, or whatever trend you're in.
I like it. Now, when you're going through this, give me a rundown. Like, when do you know you're a new trader? Say you're just starting off. Do you suggest starting off? Because we get so many, right? Almost everybody's, starting off. Not everybody's gifted with money from daddy, right? So, like, everybody's starting off small. Say you're trading futures. What's so it's MNQ? MES, M2K, or do you go with the big boys? I'm guessing MNQ-ish.
Yeah, you want to stay with the micros. I mean, I still trade the micros more than I trade the minis, just because I can scale them a lot more efficiently than I do with the minis. I mean, if I take 2 contracts of the minis and it moves, 15, 20 ticks, you're swinging $400 in like milliseconds. You know what I mean? So I'll take, 10, 15 micros, and I won't have to sit there and like have my finger on the trigger the whole time, ready to execute, buy or sell. You can have wider stops with these micros and let the trade actually play out.
What I do like about the Ninja Trader, I never used it before till you put me onto it, is you can just point and click on this. You can right click on that chart and just set the damn stop like instantly.
Oh yeah.
It's like, you can't do it E-Trade Pro, right? Like I use E-Trade Pro all these years. I love it. I'm like obsessed with it because it's just what I know. But like you can't do any of that stuff, right?
No.
And I think that's the cool thing on the Ninja Traders. Like you just right click on that thing and it's like, boom, you set the stop at the level you want. And it just makes it so damn easy. It's actually helped me a lot with my risk management because on E-Trade Pro, you do have to take a little bit of guesstimate sometimes on certain things because their charts don't update that fast. And I don't even have their charts up anymore. But, you also don't have the ability to do brackets, anything, I fucking love E-Trade Pro, but it is very limited in what they can do.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, it's 2024 and they're still on JavaScript, man. Like that's why it's so slow. And that's why when we have like intense periods of volatility, we're all like, hey, you having problems with E-Trade Pro? Yep, same here.
Always. Love E-Trade Pro, but man, they got problems. But the thing is, the executions are so much better than ThinkerCrap. Like ThinkerCrap's got some nice abilities, obviously, but you can't really trade on them. If you ever do a market order on Thinker shit, like you could be, say you're trading Coinbase, like it could be at 250, the ask, and you hit market order for like 100 shares, 500 shares, whatever. They'll fill you at 250, 55.
Oh, yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people talk about that.
Like on E-Trade Pro, like if you do a market order on equities and say the bid is at 249.50 and the ask is at 250, they'll midpoint you most of the time, so at least, you have that, so you got to be a little bit careful with that.
Yeah, with Ninja Trader, it's point and click, man. I mean, if I want to get long right on that fib level or right on that support, like I can literally move it to that same spot, and I won't. It's there. Everything's a limit order, unless you're just guns blazing and you're hitting a market order, which I don't recommend doing, especially in the Globex session. But almost, I'd say 9% of my trading is limit orders with futures.
Nice. So you're brand new. Do you recommend? Let me ask you this, because certain people do this not. Do you recommend, if you're brand new, say you're trading MNQs, right? MNQs or QQQs options. Do you recommend going 2 contracts so you can scale out, or you think one and done is the way to go?
No, I definitely think you need to have anywhere from 2 to 5. And if you're brand new, and even if you're not brand new, I mean, when I trade Globex, I use bracket orders just for protection. I think it's a great idea. Whether you're new or experienced, you should be using a bracket order. But you're a new trader, I mean, at least take 2 contracts, and that way you can kind of let your trade work, 15, 20 points if need be. And you're not, I mean, I think 25 points would be like $100 loss on MNQ micro. So, I mean, you'd have to be pretty fucking wrong for that trade to go against you 25, 30 points to stop out and you lose $100. But let's say the trade works in your favor. Okay, you have that availability to take some profit off and then use a trail stop, or a take profit trail stop on the Ninja Trader bracket order, or just use your basic 920 EMA on a 2-minute or a 5-minute and trail that final contract until it breaks down. And then that's when you take profit. It'll allow you to maximize profit potential if you can at least take 2 contracts.
Nice. I think I got the rundown. So guys, if you got $5,000, the gist is you're either going to open an options account or a futures account. You may even split it, but it's better probably to learn one. Do 2 to 4 contracts, 2 to 5 contracts, so you can learn how to scale out, bracket orders, and then build the repetitions. Do you think you should ever add to the account, or you just grow it to where it needs to go?
No, so I think, based off, first off, so you've got to have a realistic expectation on account growth.
Sure.
And everybody's different. I mean, nobody's got the same risk management system or tolerance. Each human is different when it comes to emotions and trading. But I like to think if you have a good week or a good 2 weeks, you wire some of that money out into a separate broker account. You don't wire. So what I used to do when I was growing my accounts, Canal, is I wouldn't wire it out to my bank account. I would wire it into a different broker account at E-Trade.
Sure.
And I wouldn't touch it unless I needed it. Let's say I had a good week this week, and then next week I had a really shitty week. Okay. I would take that money back out of that other broker savings and move it back into my trading account. And then once I got good enough and I started to build my account capital, that's when you start transferring money out to your bank account at home.
Nice. I think guys, you got a good gist of this, right? You don't got to trade equities. There's other things you can do with better tools, that can get you a leg up, and then you kind of can get into whatever you need to get into. Now, go for it.
So, there might be guys in here, gals that, they don't want to trade futures. They don't want to trade options. They want to trade equity because, there's a lot of benefits to trading equity. I mean, you get more news plays, you get to trade more earnings. There's a lot of pros to trading equity stocks versus just straight out futures or options. They can come in and trade futures with these funded account firms. And, say you pass 5, 10, 20 eval accounts and you start getting $1,000, $2,000 per account each month. A good trader in 1 month could be making $10,000, $15,000 a month. And then you can take that money that you're making off of your funded trader accounts with these firms and then transfer it into a broker account and trade those equities if you want.
That's hot. Because, guys, one thing that always remember about equities is there are times where indexes chop around or they don't give a huge edge. But the one thing with equities is there's always something fun going on. There's always something fun going on. Now, the downside is, at least I think, is that when you trade equities and you're looking for there's always something fun going on. A lot of equities is about finding needles in haystacks too. I'm finding stocks that are about to break out that maybe are not being talked about. I'm finding big trends. And so when you trade equities, if you really want to be good at it, like you want to be very good at it, you have to do a shitload of scanning. For example, I always recommend to my students that when you trade equities, you should flip through 1,000 stocks a day to get the screen time. So that's a lot of fucking work, and the work is, you're always going to have to work, but like flipping through a lot of stocks, it takes time, right? And the stocks change all the time. So you maybe often don't get to, there are certain stocks like your Mag 7s and things like that you kind of trade over the years that always are moving. But, otherwise there's a lot of like one shot, one kill kind of trades where it's like you trade it for a day or two and then it's done, right? And so the equities portion, if you're new and you don't have like a crazy amount of time to sit on TC 2000 or Thinkorswim or whatever and flip through just chart after chart. Like even at my experience level, I'll still go through 1,000 charts tonight. It's just my habit, so it takes time. And you got to sift through a lot of it. Then you got to organize it, right? So you got to take all the charts, throw them on different windows. And then when the pre-market hits, you got to take some off, put some on. Then you got to add in all the news plays. And so you have all these moving parts. And there's a lot of moving parts. There's news plays and different things that are happening. You got to check what's happening, not just in the indexes, but the earnings, the PRs, and China, and this and that. So you have all these moving parts. And when you do find these kind of like winners and runners, it's amazing. But there is a certain level of daily commitment that has to happen that may not give you the familiarity of, just looking at indexes or looking at, your top 10 big caps plus indexes or, so on and so forth. And so there is a trade-off there. And, one of the things that Levi's talked about is like, okay, if I'm new and I start trading indexes with futures or something along that end, you can use strategies like his fibs and, you can get used to watching something that you could watch for years and years and years. And so there's definitely, I think, an advantage to that, especially for those that like, I don't want to sit there and fucking sift through thousands of stocks every week. Levi, nowadays, because you're trading these indexes and the futures and stuff, like, do you spend a lot of time scanning? Like, look, I know you spend a lot of time looking at charts, but like scanning, right? Like looking for new stuff.
No, so I used to be one of those traders that would spend, God, man, you know what it's like, 14, 16-hour days in the office. Like, you live, breathe, and bleed trading, right? Like, frankly, I just don't have the time anymore. I got 2 kids. I've got a wife. I ranch, I farm, I've got tractors, trailers, I've got another business. So, my time outside of the cash session is like vital for me to do other things in life. And sure. Honestly, it's made me a better trader over the course of the last 5 years. My trading 100% has gotten better by, I don't want to say doing less, but it really is because I'm doing less. I feel like for me, when I look at too many charts or too many stocks in play, I like get tunnel vision, and then I'm missing setups because I'm watching this other, sector play or stock that's, a day two earnings gap or something. When I'm trading the indexes, I can literally take 15 minutes pre-market and I know exactly what I'm going to trade. Exactly what I'm going to trade. And I post it every morning in the pre-market notes channel. Now, some people don't like that. It's too repetitive.
Yeah.
But again, like my strategy with fibs, I like to keep it simple, man. And it works for me. Now, I'm not downing on anybody who puts in the seat time and the screen time and scans for stocks and gappers. If they find success in that and that's their niche, then stick with it. But it just wasn't working for me after, my family life really took over. My business outside of the trading took over. I still commit 4, 6, 8 hours a day when needed to trading. But like today, I was done in 40 minutes. I was done today in 40 minutes. I came back in the last 30 minutes and got us into QQQ calls overnight. I don't sit here all day long looking to trade. If I can hit my daily goal, or it doesn't even have to be a dollar figure, if I can hit 2, 3 good trades in an hour, I'm out. I'm not going to sit here and give, like you say, donations back to the market. I don't like donating back to the market.
Donations, really, they hurt your soul.
Yeah, and we've all been there, man. I mean,
they hurt your soul.
No, and again, there's some traders out there, you hear me talk about SMB Capital a lot. They train their traders to stay in the seat, stay on screen, and trade all day long. And they are specifically trained for that type of trading. I'm not like that. I can't do that.
Yeah. And when you're moving around, millions of dollars as a prop trader, you may have to be at the seat a little bit longer because you got to deploy so much more damn capital and you're just getting a small portion of it, right? So you may have $10 million, you're taking 25% of it or whatever. You got to make a lot of fucking money. But when it's your own money, hey, $2,000 a day, $3,000 a day, it goes a long way. And you can always build on that.
Shit, man, even $500 a day, it's just so funny. I mean, this is my 12th year in the business trading, and I'm still like, man, if I make $500 a day, like, yeah, obviously I want to make more, but I kind of put it into perspective. There's no 9 to 5 out there that's going to pay you $500 in a day, working from 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. to 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon under a boss and employees, that you're going to make $500. And if I can do that in 40 minutes or 30 minutes or 15 minutes, I mean, you put that in perspective, and then you compound that for the next day and the next day. Next thing you know, a couple months down the road, your account is looking really good.
Yeah, a lot of people get big city dreams. They get big city dreams fast, right? It's like, hey, I need to make XYZ money, and they do it, and they need it right away. It's like you have no skills, no experience. It's like, I need to make $2,000. It's like, well, first learn to make $2, right? Exactly. And then try to make $20, and maybe figure out how to make $200. And you know what? If you're brand new and you can make $200 a day, it's still going to change your life. Even, trading small, making $200 a day. First of all, I mean, $200 a day should pay for your mortgage.
That's $20,000 a year, bro.
Like it should pay for your mortgage. It's an addendum to your work at that point, and it should pay for something. And you can build on that. Your account will grow. You can take some out. You can grow. And then, a couple months later, you can try to make $300 a day. And then a couple months later, you try to make $400 a day. And if you do it that slow roll way, you'll stay in the game a long period of time. But if you go for, if you got big city dreams and you're just doing it too damn fast, you're going to end up blowing your account anyways. The emotions just take over and you don't have the skill, the speed, the mindset, the routines yet that take, years and years to learn. And people always just forget, hey, making $200, $300, $400, $500 a day can still change your life. It's going to pay for your house. It's going to pay for your cars, probably your health insurance. It's going to get some things out of the way. Maybe not with this inflation these days, but close to it. and that can do stuff.
Yep.
Levi, what's the game plan tomorrow?
So obviously it's a little early to celebrate. You don't ever celebrate till a trade's closed, but if things hold up, right, we're in those QQQ 460 calls. We were down 20% at market close.
Sure.
And since then, we rallied on the NASDAQ like a madman, right?
Yeah.
So if everything holds up into the open, I'm going to be cashing profits. We've already bounced back over 50% of today's range. That's incredible, man. I mean, that's a huge rebound. So we'll look to cash those calls out tomorrow. But for me to stay bullish, I need my 61.8 fib to reclaim. So right now, if we don't make a new low or a new high tonight, I need this level tomorrow to base, right?
Okay.
And then we can get something like this and attack the previous day high. No. Or we go in, let's say we don't quite take out the high, we can go into an intraday time frame and we're going to catch a long on the pullback.
So that's what I was kind of wondering. Like, would you prefer, like at the open, you kind of dump off a little bit? Or do you want to see the strong open and then like rip right through?
No, I want to see like a strong open, and I want to see like a heavy sell program kick in.
Okay.
Because, let's say hypothetically tomorrow morning cash session, we open up here.
Sure.
19,160. I'd love to see some selling come in like this to our fib zone.
Yeah.
And then we're going to hit this thing again. We're actually going to roll profits, and it'll be a risk-off trade into the FOMC, and then we'll just see what happens. Because, I don't want to get long fresh money at these levels. I mean, right now, this is actually a short area. I'm not touching it short because of the velocity of this move, but we can't be putting new money long at these levels.
Sure.
So let's keep this extension, and then we'll trade the intraday fib tomorrow morning.
All right. I got it. That's a good game plan. And guys, for Levi, he's got a Discord room. He's in our Discord room, and he's got his own channels for futures, for options. I mean, he's ripping and roaring literally a good chunk of the day. And we got a free trial for all of his stuff. And dude, you got to come and check him out, especially if you're trying to grow your account. Levi, let me ask you this. Like, obviously, they say 90% of traders fail. It's probably closer to like 98 or 99, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Like, what's holding people back?
I love what you said, earlier about the big city dreams. I think that is 100% what people think trading is. They come in, they see these guys with 200, 300,000 followers doing these small account challenges from $100 to $100,000. They think it's that easy. Number two, I think they're undercapitalized. Like I said earlier, they're not able to learn from their mistakes in trading. You have to be able to take losses and learn from them. That's how you grow. I mean, not just in trading, but in life in general.
Sure.
In trading, though, it's a financial game. You've got to have capital to trade and keep trading. You're human. You're going to fuck up. You're going to take nasty hits. You're going to lose money. It happens to the best of the best. Yeah. So being undercapitalized with capital, I think that's a really big deal. And then it forces them to take on more size than what they should probably be taking. I mean, I get guys in the chat room, Kanal, that if I'm down 15% on a call or a putt, any trade in any direction, they're like, hey, what's the stop? And I'm like, all right, I can already tell if you're uncomfortable being down 15% in a trade, you've got too much size, man.
Yeah.
So, you've got to, especially in trading options, you're going to have to be able to be comfortable with some premium fluctuation. You got to. I mean, your technical levels on the underlying could still be in play and holding. But if you're going sideways for 15, 30, 45 minutes, you're losing face value on your calls.
Sure. If you got one thing, so somebody's like, okay, I'm struggling, right? I'm struggling. I've been trying. So one thing I noticed is a lot of traders, they've been trying a long time, right? I've tried all these different things. I'm in your program, my program, this program. I've tried a lot of things. I just can't get it right. What's a little word of advice that you would give somebody that's been at it for a few years, but they just can't get ahead? Like, it's like, man, I'm fucking struggling. Like, I just can't do it. Right. And usually it's, self-inflicted, right? But, sometimes simplifying things for people or just figuring out where they need to go can help a lot.
I think a person just needs to be honest with themselves. Like if you're in this 2, 3, 4 years and you're still losing money year after year, like you said, it's self-inflicted. Be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
What are you doing that's causing this? I mean, every trader starting out should be journaling. 100%. You should journal every single trade. I don't journal as often anymore because everything I do is systematic. It's very rare that I trade outside of my edge. But when I do, that's when I take my losses, and I know it. So
Sure.
My advice to anybody who is consistently losing, start documenting. There's so many apps out there, TradeZella, TraderView. Download your trades and find out, is it the time of day trading where you're losing money? I mean, I lose money in the middle of the day. I make most of my money in the morning. Is it breakout trading that you're failing at? Is it, what's the current market conditions? I mean, if we're being honest, I suck trading singular trend direction. Sure. I trade the best in volatility, deep freaking ranges. When we have a day that's trending all day long to the upside, I'm that fucking idiot trying to short it, and that's why I lose money. Or same thing when we're flushing the bottom all day long. I'm trying to pick point bottoms. That's where I'm wrong. That's where I lose money. I know that, so I got to quit doing that. Be honest with yourself. Find out where the problem is and fix it. And if you don't fix it, then maybe trading is just not for you.
I think that's important, guys. There is at some point, you either have to bite the bullet and make the hard decisions to do the work, the nitty-gritty work that nobody wants to do. And I would say, look, so I've taught now maybe 6,000, 7,000 traders in the boot camps and stuff like that. I would say 1% of them send me their journals. Like 5% of them get on the simulator and stick on it for like a month and do the journal, build a business plan, all this kind of stuff. Think about that. 5%. People pay thousands of dollars to take a class, and then they don't even do that basic work. So if you don't do that basic work, like I already know, you may be a successful trader at some point, but it'll be down the road after you take a shitload of losses and then you come back and do the basic work, right? Even in this last, class, it's like I'm individually messaging people like, hey, where's your business plan? Where are your simulator trades, right? Where are these things? And so there's a certain level of self-motivation, but then also level to detail. So what I think is that everybody believes that they're the exception to the rule, right? Because we're all the heroes in our own story. We're all the heroes in our own story. So everybody believes that they're the exception to the rule. hey, I believe in these rules, but just not for myself, right? Because I'm smart. I've been doing good at other stuff. I wing things. I'm cool. I wing things. That's, I think, a lot of it, right? People take a lot of pride in winging things. And so they don't do it. And then they always inevitably come back at some point and do it, but it's after a lot of pain. And so do just, get it over with now, pick an instrument, learn it, and then journal it, attack it day after day, right? And do all the nitty gritty. And if you do that, you're giving yourself a shot to be in the big game, And if you don't, like, say you just take a class, you watch some videos, all of that kind of stuff, that doesn't even put you in the door. That it actually doesn't even get your foot in the door. Like journaling trades, simulating, building business plans, building strategies, putting pen to paper, and building actually constructs and routines and processes, that just gets your foot in the door. It doesn't even guarantee you profitability. It just gets your foot in the door. That's the bare minimum. That's the required. So then the unrequired is actually considerably more, right? If you want to actually go out and make some money. Look at Levi. Like, he took my class all these years ago, and look at all this shit he invented, right? It's not like he took my class and was like, hey, I'm just doing these things. Like, he started adding on it and adding on it and adding on it and built all his own shit, And that's the big game right there. So just something to kind of be mindful of. The minimum required work is to study, to simulate, to journal, then start small, 2 contracts, 4 contracts, 5 contracts, journal, refine your business plan, refine your processes, do all of this stuff. That just gets your foot in the door. Yeah, it doesn't even guarantee you success. So if you're not even doing that, then you have, my guess is, unless you got lucky in some crypto stock, crypto coin or something, unless you got lucky in something, you're not in the game for day trading. You got to stick with investing or something and try to YOLO some things.
Well, too, I love everything you just said, but, I think there's such a commitment to this, and if you don't see yourself being committed from now for the next 10, 15 years, you're wasting your time. I mean, you really are. This trading, any asset, swing trading, day trading, scalp trading, you have to continue to perfect your craft. And if you don't, and you get complacent, you're gonna experience loss, heavy loss. You've got to stay nimble. You've got to stay tactical. Most importantly, I always say this: keep it simple. Keep it simple. I'd rather have 1, 2 good trades a day than take 10 trades a day and still have the same profit. If you can find 1 good trade a day, start there. Just start there.
Heck yeah. Good stuff. So where did everybody find you, buddy?
Twitter.
There you go.
I've got an Always fans if you're interested.
Or I think I saw you on White Dudes for Harris.
Yep. Hashtag.
I thought it was White Dudes for Harris. Guys, do the work. You'll get there. Make sure you journal. Make sure you do the daily work. And we will see you all in the next week. Guys, Levi's got a chat room. I'm going to post his link. He's got free trial. Also, he's got a class of options boot camp. And we're coming up with a futures thing too. So he's got stuff for you. You go on his options page, join his chat room. He's got a free trial out there. And check out his options class because his fib strategy is right in there. And you'll have access to his indicators and all that fun stuff. And then learn in real time and watch him trade. You're going to see some shit that's pretty damn cool. Brother, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.